The wind whispers across the barren plains of what was once the cradle of an extraordinary civilization. Beneath layers of dust and forgotten time, lie the scattered bones of cities that once pulsed with life: Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Lothal, Dhalavira. The ruins shimmer under the fading sun, their silence louder than any sound. As the camera moves slowly over empty streets and broken walls, a voice asks, how does a civilization so vast, so advanced, simply vanish, without leaving a single clue? This is the enigma of the Indus Valley, a mystery older than the pharaohs, older than the pyramids, and still unsolved by the brightest minds of modern science. Thousands of years ago, on the banks of mighty rivers that have since changed course or dried away, the Indus people built cities of stunning precision. They engineered brick houses, drainage systems, and street grids that would not be seen again for millennia. They traded with distant lands, created delicate jewelry, and lived in peace without signs of conquest or kings. But today, we know them only through fragments, clay seals, ancient beads, and the ghostly outline of a forgotten world. No inscriptions, no great tombs, no stories carved in stone. Just silence. That silence is what makes this mystery so haunting. How could a civilization that stretched over 500,000 square miles, larger than ancient Egypt or Mesopotamia, disappear almost overnight? Scientists search for logical answers: climate change, river shifts, drought. Yet none of these fully explain how a culture so organized and resilient left behind no trace of struggle, no record of farewell. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere between science and myth. Perhaps the Indus Valley was not merely a civilization but a key to something deeper, a chapter of human history that challenges everything we believe about where we came from and what we once were. As the dust settles over these forgotten streets, one question lingers in the air: did they truly vanish, or were they meant to be forgotten? The echoes of their world still murmur beneath the sands, waiting for someone to finally listen. Long before the rise of Babylon or the first chisels carved stone in Egypt, a vast and secretive civilization was already thriving along the fertile plains of the Indus River. Here, between 3300 and 1900 BCE, an empire of astonishing complexity began to take shape, yet it was unlike any other known to history. There were no monuments proclaiming kings, no armies marching under royal banners, and no grand temples piercing the sky. Instead, what emerged was a society guided by order, harmony, and design, as if an unseen hand had laid out a perfect blueprint for human civilization. The cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro were miracles of their time. From the air, if one could see them then, they would have appeared as intricate grids, every street intersecting with mathematical precision, every home connected to a complex drainage network that still astonishes modern engineers. The uniformity stretched for hundreds of miles, suggesting not chaos, but coordination, a unity of vision. Yet the most remarkable feature of all was what was missing: there were no palaces, no ruling elite, no evidence of war or conquest. It was as though the Indus people had mastered the art of civilization without hierarchy, creating an egalitarian utopia hidden deep in prehistory. Trade flourished along their river routes. Goods from Mesopotamia, Persia, and the Arabian Peninsula flowed into Indus markets: beads, shells, metals, and spices. Archaeologists have uncovered docks, warehouses, and standardized weights that prove their mastery of commerce. Their artisans crafted delicate ornaments, polished tools, and miniature seals marked with mysterious symbols, each one whispering a language no one can yet understand. But despite all this sophistication, the people themselves remain ghosts. We do not know their names, their leaders, or even their gods. It's this paradox that keeps scientists awake at night: how could such organization exist without apparent authority? How could a society so advanced remain so silent? The Indus Valley stands as a contradiction to everything we think we know about early civilizations, a place where power left no trace, where the builders vanished but their precision endured. Perhaps their strength was not in domination but in understanding, a collective consciousness that transcended the need for kings. And yet, as centuries passed, the same rivers that gave them life would slowly turn against them. The empire that rose in harmony was destined to fall in silence, leaving behind nothing but ruins and the question, who were these people, and why did they hide their greatness so well? Amid the thousands of artifacts unearthed from the Indus Valley, seals, pottery, tablets, and tools, one discovery stands above them all, a system of writing that no one on earth can read. Inscribed on small stone seals and tiny fragments of pottery, these symbols, a mix of abstract shapes, animals, and human-like figures, hold the key to understanding who the Indus people were. But despite decades of study, the code has never been cracked. Each symbol seems deliberate, purposeful, even elegant, yet the pattern slips away the moment scholars believe they've found it. The result is one of the greatest linguistic mysteries of all time, a script that refuses to speak. Archaeologists have found more than 4,000 examples of these symbols, yet none of them form the long texts we associate with true written language. Most are short, 4, maybe 5 characters, as if the people of the Indus communicated through riddles or compressed thoughts beyond modern comprehension. Some scholars insist it must represent a lost form of Dravidian or Proto-Elamite, while others argue it was never a language at all, but a complex system of symbols used for trade, ritual, or identification. But there's something unsettling about that explanation. The seals show a precision and repetition that suggests more than practicality, it suggests meaning. It suggests intent. Modern computer algorithms have analyzed these inscriptions, comparing their patterns to known languages. The results were astonishing. Statistically, the Indus script behaves like real writing, structured, grammatical, intelligent. Yet without a bilingual text like the Rosetta Stone, translation remains impossible. The words are locked behind time itself, like a voice shouting through sand. Some theorists go even further, claiming the script may have encoded spiritual or scientific knowledge, a language not meant for speech but for ritual, or even communication with forces beyond human understanding. Each seal recovered from the ruins carries its own aura of mystery. A bull, a unicorn, a tree, a strange humanoid shape sitting cross-legged, recurring images that might represent gods, clans, or cosmic principles. But without translation, they are mirrors reflecting our own guesses. The silence of the Indus script is more than a gap in knowledge, it's a wall between two worlds. We can see the Indus people's hands, their tools, their art, but not their thoughts. Their language died without a whisper, leaving humanity with symbols that seem to taunt us, as if saying, you may dig up our cities, but you will never truly know us. In that silence lies the true power of the Indus Valley, a civilization that still guards its own secrets. As the Indus Valley Civilization's ruins emerge from the dust, the mind is left to ponder, how could a Bronze Age society, with none of the tools or technologies we possess today, create something so advanced, so flawless? In the heart of Mohenjo-Daro, Harappa, and Lhasa, one can still see the echoes of a scientific understanding that defied its time. The streets are laid out with extraordinary precision, with right angles, uniform brick sizes, and drainage systems so advanced they are still unparalleled in ancient cities. It is as if the architects of this civilization were modern engineers working in an era where such concepts should have been impossible. One of the most astonishing aspects of these cities is their drainage systems, an intricate network of covered drains that channeled wastewater away from homes and public areas. While ancient cities elsewhere struggled with basic sanitation, the Indus people had already mastered the art of public health, ensuring that their cities were among the cleanest and most hygienic of their time. The streets were raised above the drainage level, preventing contamination from flowing back into homes. Even more remarkable is the uniformity. Every house, every public building, every well was connected to this system, an engineering feat that required coordination and knowledge far beyond what was expected of ancient peoples. But this is only the beginning of the mystery. The bricks that built their cities, more than 500 million of them, are of such precise measurement that modern brickmakers would be hard-pressed to match them. The dimensions are consistent across the entire civilization, suggesting the use of an advanced measurement system. But what is most extraordinary is the quality of the clay used, which was fired at a temperature high enough to give the bricks unparalleled durability, even by today's standards. It's as if the people of the Indus Valley had access to some secret formula, a recipe for building that has been lost to time. Equally mysterious is the advanced metallurgy the Indus Valley people demonstrated. Evidence of copper, bronze, and even the rare use of iron in certain artifacts points to a mastery of materials that should not have been possible in their era. The metal objects they left behind are intricately crafted, yet there is no clear evidence of large-scale furnaces or smelting facilities. The tools and ornaments they made reveal an understanding of alloys, casting, and molding that would not be fully grasped in other civilizations for centuries to come. And then there are the seals, small yet incredibly detailed, with animals, geometric shapes, and what appear to be early forms of script. Some scholars suggest that the seals were used for trade or identification purposes, but their meticulous craftsmanship suggests a deep understanding of art and geometry. Perhaps these tiny artifacts were more than just functional, they were symbols of something far greater, a civilization that understood not only the physical world but the metaphysical one as well. Yet, for all their technological prowess, there is an eerie sense of unfinished business in the ruins of the Indus Valley. Was their knowledge passed down in oral traditions, only to be lost? Did their society possess the secret to their own perfection, but never had the chance to fully realize it? What were they on the verge of discovering when their cities were suddenly abandoned? The perfection of the Indus Valley, with its unbroken systems and flawless design, may hold the answer to questions we are still struggling to answer today, questions that lie at the intersection of science and mystery. The air is thick with mystery as we peer into the ruins of what were once the bustling cities of the Indus Valley. Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Lothal, places that once teemed with life, yet now stand in eerie silence. Streets that once echoed with footsteps, now only hold the wind's whisper. What happened to these great cities? How did a civilization capable of such remarkable engineering and planning simply fade away, leaving behind no clear explanation? What makes the disappearance of the Indus Valley even more haunting is that there were no grand catastrophes. Unlike the fall of the Maya or the collapse of the Roman Empire, there were no signs of war, destruction, or mass death. There are no traces of violent invasions, no evidence of plundering or sieges. The great cities of the Indus Valley didn't burn, they simply disappeared. The people didn't leave behind burning ruins, broken weapons, or scattered bones. There were no signs of famine, pestilence, or civil unrest. Everything was simply abandoned, as if the people had just walked away. Some scientists suggest that environmental change played a role, shifts in the course of the rivers that once provided fertile soil for agriculture. The Indus River, upon which these cities depended, may have changed its course, leaving large swaths of land unsuitable for farming. But even this explanation seems incomplete. The people of the Indus Valley were adept at managing water resources. Their well-planned drainage systems and water storage techniques indicate an advanced understanding of how to work with nature, not just survive it. Others theorize that the cities fell due to a slow, gradual decline brought about by internal factors, perhaps a breakdown of their sophisticated social structures, or a change in trade routes that disrupted their economy. Could their reliance on a single, unified system of governance have been their undoing? Without a strong central authority, could the Indus Valley have been vulnerable to slow social disintegration? And yet, these explanations do little to answer the deeper question: why was their disappearance so complete? Evidence from nearby regions suggests that the people of the Indus Valley didn't just die or abandon their cities in small groups. There was no great migration, no population shift. Archaeologists have not found remnants of large migrations to neighboring regions. The cities were simply deserted, their inhabitants scattered like shadows into the wind. This sudden and complete disappearance raises an unsettling possibility: could the people of the Indus Valley have known something that we don't? Was there a force, an event, or a phenomenon beyond our understanding that led them to abandon their cities so suddenly? A great flood? A cosmic event? A hidden enemy? Or perhaps they simply chose to leave, deliberately vanishing from the historical record, as if they had completed a chapter of human history and were ready to disappear into legend. The silence that surrounds the vanished cities of the Indus Valley is more than just a mystery, it's an invitation. An invitation to explore the unexplained, to question the boundaries of history, and to wonder what truths are hidden beneath the layers of time. The people of the Indus Valley may have left no written record, but in the emptiness of their cities, they have left us with one of the most profound questions of all: what happened to them? And what did they know that we have yet to understand? As the search for answers grows more desperate, the scientific community has begun to entertain ideas that skirt the boundaries of conventional history. The Indus Valley's disappearance was too sudden, too complete, to be explained by the usual factors: drought, river shifts, or social collapse. Some fringe theorists suggest that what we're dealing with is something far beyond natural causes. Could there have been forces at play that are too mysterious for conventional science to fully comprehend? Could the Indus Valley's demise have been tied to something far more ancient, or even supernatural? One of the most fascinating theories posits a connection between the Indus Valley and the lost continent of Kumari Kandam, a legendary land spoken of in ancient Tamil texts. According to these myths, Kumari Kandam was once an advanced civilization located in the Indian Ocean, submerged under the waves due to a great cataclysm. Some believe that the Indus Valley was a colony of this lost land, its people survivors of a catastrophe that wiped out their mother civilization. The connection between the two cultures is suggested by striking similarities in art, religion, and even geographical alignment. Could the Indus Valley's mysterious silence be a result of an ancient cultural collapse, a heritage that knew the fate of Kumari Kandam and, perhaps, even tried to avoid it? Other theories are even more tantalizing and dangerous. Some claim the Indus Valley's technology was not merely the result of human ingenuity, but of an otherworldly influence. UFO enthusiasts, particularly those in the ancient astronaut community, suggest that the advancements seen in the Indus cities, from their brickmaking techniques to their metallurgy and urban planning, were not entirely of earthly origin. Could extraterrestrials have visited the region, offering knowledge and technology to an ancient civilization? The precision of the Indus Valley's engineering, the seeming impossibility of its achievements, raises the question: was this just an advanced civilization, or was it a society given a brief glimpse into the stars? Even more disturbing are the theories that lean toward the occult, suggesting that the people of the Indus Valley were somehow in touch with hidden, forbidden knowledge that they may have intentionally erased from history. This is a theory that traces the remnants of their enigmatic symbols, their seals, the mysterious unicorn that appears in their iconography, and the figures that some believe resemble early depictions of Hindu gods, as evidence that their civilization held a deeper, perhaps even mystical, connection to forces beyond human understanding. Some even propose that the civilization's disappearance was not just physical but metaphysical, that the people of the Indus Valley didn't vanish but ascended, leaving this plane of existence altogether. The idea of ascension, an entire civilization transcending to a higher state of being, sounds like the stuff of science fiction, but it taps into a deeply ingrained human fascination with the supernatural. Could it be that the inhabitants of the Indus Valley reached an understanding of the universe so profound that their physical form became irrelevant? Were they in pursuit of a higher state of consciousness, seeking to break free from the physical world? Or did they, perhaps, achieve some kind of unity with the forces that govern time and space, becoming an eternal enigma? Yet, despite the allure of these forbidden theories, the scientific community remains largely dismissive. They demand evidence, proof. But evidence, in this case, is elusive, slipping through the fingers of even the most determined archaeologists and historians. The more we uncover about the Indus Valley, the more it seems that they were not just a lost civilization, but a civilization that intentionally chose to be forgotten. Were they hiding a secret so profound that it transcended time itself? Perhaps the key to understanding their true fate lies not in the physical world, but in the hidden realms of knowledge and the secrets they were guarding. The artifacts of the Indus Valley are like silent witnesses to a forgotten world. Scattered across the ruins, these objects, small, yet intricately designed, hold a secret that modern science struggles to explain. From miniature sculptures to finely crafted jewelry, every item seems to echo a story that's waiting to be heard, yet remains just out of reach. What makes these objects truly astonishing, however, is not just their craftsmanship, but the apparent impossibility of some of them existing at all. How could a society with no known metalworking technology craft such delicate, precision instruments? How could a Bronze Age civilization create tools and ornaments that seem to defy the boundaries of their time? One of the most perplexing examples is the tiny beads found in the ruins of Mohenjo-daro, made from precious stones, shells, and even glass, materials that would have been incredibly rare and difficult to procure. The precision with which these beads were made is astonishing. They are almost perfectly round, and some are so small they could only have been shaped using advanced techniques far beyond the capabilities of their time. Modern jewelers, equipped with the latest tools, struggle to replicate the finesse seen in these ancient pieces. How did the Indus Valley artisans, working with rudimentary tools, create such intricate and flawless objects? Were they simply ahead of their time, or were they using methods and knowledge that have been lost to history? Equally baffling are the stone tools and metallic artifacts that have been unearthed in the ruins. While the people of the Indus Valley are generally thought to have used bronze and copper, archaeologists have discovered metallic objects made from alloys and processes that should not have been possible at their stage of technological development. Some tools exhibit a kind of precision and smoothness that suggest advanced metalworking techniques, methods that weren't supposed to be in use until much later in human history. These artifacts raise the question, did the Indus people possess knowledge that was far ahead of their time? Or, was there something more at play, perhaps a knowledge or technique passed down from a much earlier civilization, or even something that was given to them from an outside source? Then there are the seals, thousands of them, each one telling a story we cannot fully decipher. Crafted from steatite, they depict a range of animals, human figures, and strange symbols. Some of these seals feature what appear to be proto-Shiva depictions, a horned figure seated in a meditative posture. How could the people of the Indus Valley, so removed from later Hindu civilizations, have created such a strikingly familiar image of a deity that would not appear in the Hindu pantheon until centuries later? Was this an early form of Hinduism, or is it possible that the Indus people were somehow connected to spiritual beliefs that were later absorbed into other religious traditions? The most intriguing and mysterious of these seals, however, are those that feature an image of a single-horned animal, the so-called unicorn. This peculiar creature, which appears on several seals, has baffled scholars for years. It does not match any known animal from the region, nor does it resemble any creature in contemporary mythology. Was the unicorn a symbolic figure? A mythological reference? Or did the Indus Valley people know of an animal that has since disappeared from history? Some even speculate that it could represent an extinct species, a relic of the ancient world that was forgotten before we had a chance to study it. Each artifact recovered from the Indus Valley holds its own mystery, an unanswered question about the nature of the civilization that created it. But more than that, these objects serve as a reminder that we may not fully understand the capabilities of ancient societies. We tend to assume that technological progress is a linear trajectory, that earlier civilizations were primitive and their achievements rudimentary. But the objects from the Indus Valley challenge this assumption, suggesting that some civilizations were capable of feats that we cannot yet explain, despite our modern tools and knowledge. The question, then, is not whether these artifacts are real, they clearly are, but rather, what do they reveal about the true nature of the Indus Valley civilization? Were these objects mere products of an advanced but human society? Or do they point to something more profound? A civilization that understood forces beyond our comprehension, that tapped into knowledge lost to time, and that may have left behind these clues to remind us of what we have yet to rediscover. The artifacts of the Indus Valley continue to haunt us with their beauty, their precision, and their unanswered questions. And in their silent testimony, they seem to whisper that there is more to this lost civilization than meets the eye. As we dig deeper into the enigmatic world of the Indus Valley civilization, we come across a startling revelation: the people of this ancient society may have been more than just engineers and traders. Beneath their meticulous planning and precise construction, there appears to be a spiritual dimension that we are only beginning to grasp. The symbols found on their seals and in their art suggest a belief system that was both complex and mysterious, one that may have been connected to deities and cosmic forces far older than any known religion. In fact, some researchers argue that the Indus Valley might have been the cradle of a spiritual tradition that influenced much of the religious practices that followed, including those of Hinduism. The most intriguing clue in this religious puzzle comes from the famous depiction of what some believe to be an early form of the god Shiva, known as the Proto-Shiva figure. This figure appears on several seals, sitting cross-legged in a meditative pose, with animals surrounding him, including a bull. The image is strikingly similar to later depictions of Shiva in Hinduism, leading some scholars to suggest that the people of the Indus Valley may have worshipped a precursor to this great god. But how could the Indus Valley, a civilization that predates the rise of Hinduism by thousands of years, have known of a deity that would later become so central to one of the world's oldest religions? Did they invent this deity, or were they simply passing down knowledge from an even earlier spiritual tradition? The connection to Hinduism does not end with Proto-Shiva. Some of the motifs found in Indus Valley art, such as the recurring images of the unicorn, which some see as symbolic of purity and spiritual ascension, bear a striking resemblance to symbols used in later Hindu and Buddhist traditions. Could it be that the roots of these ancient belief systems lie buried in the soil of the Indus Valley, waiting for us to uncover them? Yet, while these spiritual symbols point toward a connection with later religions, they also reveal something deeper, a culture that revered nature and the cosmos in ways we may never fully understand. As we move closer to unraveling the mysteries of the Indus Valley Civilization, we are faced with an uncomfortable truth: science has only uncovered part of the story. The more we learn, the more questions arise, leaving a growing gap between what we know and what we can't explain. Despite decades of excavation, analysis, and technological breakthroughs, the Indus Valley continues to elude full understanding. The precision of its cities, the sophistication of its technology, and the silence of its people remain a riddle, one that modern science, with all its advances, cannot yet solve. One of the most perplexing aspects of the Indus Valley is the continued inability to decipher their writing system. Thousands of seals bearing the mysterious Indus script have been discovered, yet not a single word has been definitively translated. The symbols remain a barrier, standing between us and the people who created them. Even with the help of advanced computing algorithms and linguistic analysis, scholars have failed to crack the code. This is a stark reminder that even in the age of information, there are still mysteries too complex for our current understanding. The fact that an entire civilization can leave behind a written record that we cannot read, a record that may hold the key to their thoughts, beliefs, and history, is a profound enigma. It suggests that there is something deeper at play, something that we have not yet grasped. What makes this even more troubling is that many aspects of the Indus Valley's achievement seem almost too advanced for their time. The city layouts, with their perfect grid systems, sophisticated drainage, and standardized weights and measures, all suggest a level of planning and organization that modern societies only began to approach thousands of years later. But how did they accomplish this? Without written records, how did the people of the Indus Valley organize such a vast and complex civilization? How did they manage trade across hundreds of miles, coordinate construction projects of incredible scale, and create a society that, for all intents and purposes, appeared to function with military-like precision? These are questions that science cannot fully answer, at least not yet. Similarly, the Indus Valley's apparent mastery of materials science continues to confound researchers. Evidence of advanced metallurgy, the use of precise measurements in construction, and the production of high-quality ceramics and pottery suggests a level of technological sophistication that modern historians have difficulty reconciling with the resources available to these ancient people. The fact that the Indus Valley managed to achieve all of this with what should have been relatively primitive tools forces us to reconsider the boundaries of technological development. Could there have been knowledge or techniques lost to time? Were the people of the Indus Valley privy to information or methods that have been forgotten, or deliberately hidden, from history? Perhaps most haunting of all is the complete absence of any signs of violent conflict or conquest in the Indus Valley. As we gaze upon the scattered ruins of the Indus Valley, we are left with a profound sense of awe. A civilization that flourished for over 1,000 years, that crafted cities with advanced engineering, that perfected trade and governance, and yet left no lasting legacy, no grand monuments, no stories of kings or conquerors, no record of their beliefs or their downfall. Their silence echoes through time, yet their legacy is alive in ways we may never fully understand. The question now is not just what the Indus Valley people accomplished, but how their legacy continues to influence us today. Though the civilization itself may be lost, fragments of the Indus Valley have survived and permeated the very fabric of human history. From the intricate beadwork to the mysterious script, from their advanced urban planning to their reverence for nature, the echoes of their achievements can still be found in our world. In fact, some of the technologies and innovations that were developed in the Indus Valley, such as standardized weights and measurements, as well as sophisticated urban planning, are the foundations of the very systems that govern modern society. What we now take for granted, the grid structure of cities, the importance of sanitation, the concept of standardized trade, was pioneered by a people who, at the time, were forging a new path in human history. The seeds of the Indus Valley's technological and cultural advances can still be seen in the societies that followed. While civilizations like Mesopotamia and Egypt are often heralded as the cradles of human civilization, the influence of the Indus Valley on the cultures of South Asia cannot be overstated. Many of the social and economic systems that became central to the Indian subcontinent, such as caste divisions, urbanization, and the development of specialized crafts and trades, have deep roots in the legacy of the Indus Valley. Though much of the specifics of their belief system has been lost to time, the reverence for fertility, nature, and balance can be seen in later spiritual practices, from Hinduism to Buddhism. In this sense, the Indus Valley may be one of the hidden mothers of Indian civilization. The mystery of their disappearance, too, has left an indelible mark on our imagination. For centuries, the story of the Indus Valley's sudden and unexplained decline has sparked both fascination and speculation. This question of what happened to them has become a defining mystery, one that has inspired countless theories and hypotheses. The unanswered nature of their demise has made the civilization a symbol of the fleeting nature of human greatness. In an age where civilizations rise and fall with astonishing speed, the story of the Indus Valley serves as a reminder that even the most advanced societies can fade into history without a trace. But the very fact that we still ponder their existence, still seek to uncover their secrets, shows that their legacy endures in the collective consciousness. In a more tangible sense, the Indus Valley has inspired a generation of archaeologists, historians, and engineers who continue to look to the past for answers.